that Christ said, ask and you will receive.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to remember to ask for those graces. It's important. I'm asking for the grace of patience. I'm asking for the grace of temperance. I have been unable to be temperate, Lord. I'm asking you for that gift of temperance, and so we ask for those graces as well. And we also pray with fervor to ask the Lord to allow us to know him. We want to convey that desire to God of wanting to know him. There is an old Taoist story where the master and the disciple were talking, and the disciple is like, well, when will I attain enlightenment? And the master puts his head under the water, and his hands are flailing for breath, and he lets him come back up, and he says, when you want enlightenment as much as you just wanted breath, that's when you will have it. That's what we have to do. That's how much we have to want to know God. That's really, really important.
Wow. So out-of-body travel is not a novelty thing. This is not sort of a side entertainment sort of thing. This is truly the path to some spiritual awakening, to use a term, I suppose, to a higher vibration, to achieve or start heading toward that elevated state of consciousness.
Absolutely. And, it is so, it is, for those who are like, well, that's not really what I was after. What I would say to them is, once you realize the beauty that lies there for you, you will be. You will be.
Wow. Well, I know we're just getting started, and we're going to also talk about tonight, I know, the mysteries of the redemption. And as you say, in your own words, Marilyn, you say that the mysteries of the redemption instigate out-of-body travel, bringing you into an energetic space wherein it becomes spontaneous. And I just sort of want people to know, listeners to know, that is what we're making our way toward here with Marilynn Hughes tonight.
The chuckle. Number 22, the giggle. Number 49, the chortle. Number 56, the snort. Number 61, the nasal burst. Number 62, the sputtering burst. Number 74, the cackle.
The preceding laughter has been brought to you by George Slaughter's Comedy Club, the new TV show featuring the freshest faces in stand-up comedy.
Number 117, the guffaw. Number 117A, the guffaw with wheeze.
George Slaughter's Comedy Club, from the creator of Laugh-In.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Enormous SUV driver.
Mr. Enormous SUV driver.
Your mammoth machine strikes the perfect balance between the towing capacity of a tractor-trailer and the sleek styling of a tractor-trailer.
Keep on trucking.
Lesser men might say a 26-cylinder engine is overkill. But someday, they'll have to tow a cruise ship into dry dock. And that's when they'll come crying to you.
I got the towing package.
You get 7.2 miles per tank of gas, which is perfect, because that's exactly how far it is to the next gas station.
Fill her up.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Enormous SUV driver. If you're going to compensate for something small, go really, really big.
Mr. Enormous SUV
Bud
driver.
Light beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
It was the first classless restaurant in London where bankers, plumbers, and rockers could get authentic, southern accented American food. The biggest stars competed to get their guitars on the walls, which became the world's most mind-blowing memorabilia collection. But did you know it still has authentic, southern accented American food? Fresh, made from scratch, legendary burgers to smoked pulled pork sandwiches. Hard Rock Cafe. Have you been lately?
We have ignition.
That reminds me of something that I experienced in out-of-body travel called Holy Laughter. So,
Really?
Oh yes, it is a spiritual state, so you're absolutely right on that one. God has a sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. I found that out in my near-death experience. I was quite shocked and delighted, actually. It sort of made it all that much more approachable to me, realizing that there is a sense of humor involved in all of this. So that is good. And every time I talk to you, every time I hear your voice, I hear that smile in your voice, and I'm just hoping that the talk we're having here tonight is going to spread some of that around. As you say, come at this with an attitude of service. And so I'm really hoping people can take something good away from this, and perhaps we may cause some people out there to experience holy laughter or smiles or, maybe an easier way of life. I hear so many things in your tone of voice when you speak, and I want people out there to experience those things that you experience.
Yes, that would be so awesome, wouldn't it?
It would. It would. Are we done with the purification process? Is there more that we need to know about that?
Well, let's keep moving forward in that. We're almost through the basics of it here.
Okay.
Just entering into some meditation, contemplation, and practice here. Meditation, listening to God, and what's a couple of techniques here that are important. I always tell people that it's really important when you start your meditation for astral travel to allow as much as 3 hours at a time, because the reason being is that you need to go into a really, really deep level of consciousness. And so you need to allow up to 3 hours to allow for that to happen. And I also recommend lying down, because if you meditate sitting up, if you do end up going into the out-of-body state, you might fall down and that could knock you out of that state. So lying down, meditation for up to 3 hours, that's really important. That'll get you in a good position to move into that next session there. You want to be doing meditations that focus primarily on your breath. Let your thoughts go. Do not focus on a whole lot else. Remember, meditation, you're listening to God. So just don't even worry about anything else. Do not feel that you need to have any particular kind of meditation. It's a very simple thing of focus on your breathing, lying down long periods of time. And so some little things that you're going to experience before, maybe as you're getting closer to the experience. You're going to start seeing colors when your eyes are closed. Like most people see purples, greens, and white lights in their eyes when they get close. You also become more aware of orbs in the room. You also become more aware of presences. So people who are not normally aware of that will often become more aware of that. Frequency shifts. People will start becoming aware of frequency shifts in the room while they're conscious. And for changes in the tone of the room. So are you familiar with that, Heather?
Well, Yeah. I mean, I can feel it when the room changes or when a building changes or when someone new walks into the room and they're sort of bringing something with them and the entire room shifts. Yeah, that part of it I'm familiar with.
Okay. And then there's another kind of shift that occurs too. Like you'll actually hear, like it'll shift in your ear. You'll actually hear like a tone. It just like that. It'll shift. There will be a change in the tone, and it's actually a frequency that people might start hearing that. Some people will become more aware of consciousness merging. So they're like becoming more like a little bit more merging in more than one reality. And those are kind of some signs that you're getting close. So that's good news. Also, as you're getting closer, you're going to be experiencing things like you're going to waken from sleep knowing that things are happening, but you might be frustrated because you're not remembering them. But that's very good signs of things to come, because a lot of times you will have events that are happening subconsciously that you are not allowed to remember that are precursors. They're going to happen to prepare you before the experience becomes conscious. So when you have those times where you waken from sleep knowing things are happening but you can't remember what they are, don't sweat it. That's a good thing. That's good. You might recall things happening, but be unable to recall detail. Those are all good. They'll emerge on their own time. Subconscious things will be implanted in your spirit. That's all good. Dream activity and lucidity will increase. And some people will have more of an increase in psychic gifts, or they might become more advanced. Some people will become more semi-conscious during sleep. And that is an excellent sign, because you're eventually going to become fully conscious, and that's when you're going to have the full conscious out-of-body experience. Does all of that make kind of sense there?
Yes, because it builds up in several different ways. It builds up, and you can, if you notice and you're paying attention, you can see these early signs of you're getting close to having an authentic out-of-body experience. So it's important to notice these things, because a lot of people, if you try, I'm really trying to get away from making these generalizations of a lot of people. That's incorrect. Scratch that. Folks that have never done this before can try, and gosh, it's just not happening for me. And gosh, this takes so much effort. If you see the signs that you're talking about, Marilyn, then that impatience can go away because oh, I've seen this sign, I've had that sign, I have a little increase in psychic ability here, I had lucid dreams for the last 2 nights in a row, I'm getting close.
Right. It really helps to notice those little signs because a lot of people get really impatient, especially if they see something happening and then they're like, but that's not enough. They don't realize, but it's like these things are really excellent signs and indications of progress. And you'll see this happen, one after another, after another, after another, and you're going to see that they happen in sequence. So these are all excellent precursors and predictors of, where you're heading, so it's a definite thing to not get discouraged for sure,
I ask a lot of people this, but have you ever seen this movie? It's called A Dark Song. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I have. I haven't heard of that.
I am going to have to send you a copy of this movie because what you're describing is kind of depicted in this movie. And
really?
And I don't want to spoil the end for anybody who hasn't seen it. I know you would love it because I can see that ending right now in my mind. But so there's a young lady in the film and she is wanting to do some magic. And I can tell you this part without, ruining it. Or spoiling it for you, but she wants to experience some magic of the highest order. And they're getting ready and they're doing the preparations and it's a lot of, different steps that need to be taken. And as they're going through this, the gentleman she's working with, she keeps asking him, well, when is something going to happen? Make something happen. How come nothing is happening? And he says, but it is happening. You're not noticing. It's around us. And there were little signs along the way that he is picking up on, little synchronicities along the way, definite clues along the way that, yes, their magic is working. And she is just insisting, well, make something happen. And he's thinking, like, I don't know, what do you want me to do? Grow a tree out of my hand? It is happening. And so that is what you're describing here is truly reminding me of. And, I don't want to totally spoil it, but she ends up experiencing some magic. Let me just put it that way. But it's an intense journey. And that film really does remind me of what it's like to work up to having an out-of-body experience.
It really is similar there, yeah.
You take the steps and you're doing it just right and you're thinking, gosh, this is never going to happen. And then something happens and it is far more glorious and incredible than we could have possibly imagined.
Exactly. Very true.
Yeah.
So very true. But one of the things I hear from, spiritual counseling clients pretty regularly is, it's really helpful for them to hear these clues that things are coming. And they are very predictive of things coming. And so it helps them to know because there is a great impatience when this process is going on,
Oh, sure. And it can cause people to give up early.
Oh, sure. They absolutely can. And, so it's important to realize that it is a process and it does require patience, but there are signs that things are happening. And, so people will then also, they start hearing or feeling buzzing sounds. And these are sounds and feelings of the vibrational state as it is slowly beginning to emerge within a soul. You'll feel these on lesser levels before it comes through in full. And you'll also start hearing or feeling roaring sounds, which are the sounds of the astral plane, before you're totally connected to it later on. Now, there's also some blocks that people often have that are real easy to fix. So these are things that almost everybody runs into.
Okay, well, actually, can we hold it? Speaking of blocks, I'm sorry. Can we hold it right there? I want to get us back on track. You're so interesting to talk to. I get caught up in what we're talking about, and I completely missed the break schedule. I'm going to make a note here, and when we come back, it's all about the blocks. All right. Hey, we can make this happen with Marilynn Hughes. We absolutely can. Have you tried doing this and you just can't get it done? Well, perhaps there's a block in the way. And we'll find out about those with Marilynn Hughes when we come back from the break, everybody.
There is a life form growing out of prebiotic fluid. It is not winding down into disorder. It is self-organizing into the shape of fear. The most evil force man has ever known is awakening. Master of terror and suspense, John Carpenter brings you Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness. Don't see it alone.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Motel 6's new improved website lets you book a room and save more for what you travel for faster than ever. Even faster than you can find your keys, which you swore were right on the little hooky thing by the garage door where they always are, and we can land a robot on a comet, but we can't keep keys from disappearing. Oh, here they are. Left them in my jacket. Don't you hate that? I'm Tom Bodette for the new improved Motel6.com, and we'll leave the light on for you.
The Mondo Sales Spectacular at Gary Mo Hyundai.
Why are you talking like that?
My voice sells cars.
So you're telling me that me saying that Gary Mo Hyundai delivers the best bang for the buck, including a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty and some of the best safety ratings, is not as good as you saying it?
Well...
See, no need for that.
But...
No, stop. Visit GaryMo.com or stop by at 7632 50th Avenue.
Gary Mo Hyundai. Drive smart.
You don't listen, do you?
Very superstitious.
Anybody hit me? This is UN Patient. We need some help down here. Found something in the ice. We found something.
John Carpenter's The Thing. Screenplay by Bill Lancaster. The Thing. The ultimate in alien terror. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
When you subscribe to the Kingdom of Nye with Heather Wade, you get access to our archive of shows in superior audio quality so you can listen anytime. You can join in on the live talk action and send your questions to Heather through the looking glass during the show. Enjoy exclusive interviews with top-notch guests only for subscribers. Folks, we can't do it without you. Discover an oasis for the mind. Click subscribe at thekingdomofnye.com. A talk show so good, it's supernatural.
Here's some sound advice. Don't buy a new car with an old radio. Make sure it's got HD radio. Hear more stations and CD quality sound with no monthly fees. Be sure the car you're buying is fully equipped. Ask your dealer about HD radio. Discover it at hdradio.com.
Kingdom of Nye is pounding packets your way. To call the show, please dial 1-775-298-5600. That's 1-775-298-5600. First-time callers? Of course, at 1-775-293-4500. That's 1-775-293-4500.
Oh, you probably didn't realize this, but that song is about out-of-body experiences. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that part he's singing, you can't understand what he's saying. It's coming up here. Yeah, he's talking about his out-of-body experiences. Look up the lyrics. I'm telling you. You can look it up. Oh, well, this just in. Jason Bland is up late at night. He is a night owl. He says here, just turned 41, and what a better way to enjoy my birthday than listening to the finest in late-night radio with an awesome guest, Marilynn Hughes. Great show tonight. Well, Jason Bland, my friend out there in the night, he covers Sunday night, Jason Bland does. Well, we are all wishing you a very happy birthday, and we're wishing you an out-of-body experience tonight, Jason. Welcome back, Marilyn. Apologize for that, but we're back on schedule here, or as close as we're going to get to back on the show clock schedule. So, okay.
No
then.
worries.
Perfect timing there, I suppose, to start talking about the blocks that are involved with this sort of a thing. What kind of blocks do people run into?
Well, first of all, the biggest one, make sure you empty your bladder before meditating or sleeping, because if you're going to try to have an astral projection, you want to make sure that's done, because that is one of the things that can truly knock that off course. So make sure you do that.
Okay.
Also, don't fill your mind with too much noise, TV, anything garbage-wise. You want to get again back to this silence thing and enough solitude. Truly, if you don't engage in enough solitude, it will make it harder for you to break through. Remember, we are trying to break through a frequency divide here. And the frequency divide is breaking from our world of noise into the world of silence. And so we have to have enough solitude in our lives to make it possible for us to break through that. Also, be very aware of monitoring for potential interruptions during your sleep or your practice. You want to try to minimize those potentials so that, because these experiences occur when you least expect them, so you want to do everything you can to minimize that kind of stuff, because that can happen and really mess it up. So you want to do everything you can to kind of keep your launch pad sacred, so to speak. Always important to listen to the spiritual promptings you receive. You're going to receive spiritual promptings in a lot of different ways, and not just through the out-of-body experiences, but in other ways. And those will give you direction that is going to help you to deepen your practice. So you want to make sure you're always responding well to that direction. Otherwise, you're going to slow down your progress.
Well, what does that mean exactly? What spiritual prompt? What is a spiritual prompt?
Well, you're going to be given, like for instance, you might be told things to do to make your environment better, or things that you might need to do to deepen your practice. You might even be told things that you need to change, even in regards to your own life, in terms of like if you're given correction, for instance, which you will be because we all are, and you don't heed it, then you're going to slow down your practice. You're going to slow down your progress, because the whole thing here is that this is about, moving forward, the purification path. So if we do not respond well or listen well to what we are directed to do, because you're going to be receiving direction through teachers who will teach you things. You're going to be told certain things. My whole everything I've done for the last 30 years literally has been directed down to the last detail. Whether it was, I want you to record this song in your garage, to, I need you to re-edit this book in this particular way, to, I need you to go down to this thrift store because you're going to go look there and you're going to find an ancient sacred text that I need you to read. So you're going to receive all sorts of direction that is going to guide you in a myriad of ways.
Okay.
Everything from, the way that I have created the foundation, to the way that I publish the books, to the way that the covers are done, to the way, to personal life, everything that I have, the direction that I've received about things regarding my own character flaws. We have to be responsive to what we are being guided to do.
Okay, all right. Now I think I really get that. And I've been doing that. Yeah, I've been doing that lately, and it'll feel a little bit weird at first when you get this sort of hunch, you get this sort of, inspiration to do something, or even, as crazy as it sounds, perhaps a little voice in your mind that's telling you, do this, do that, sort of thing. And when you start to follow those things that you're receiving from spirit, I suppose, amazing things begin to happen in your life.
Exactly.
Okay.
Things go much more smoothly, and progress occurs much more rapidly, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. In strange ways.
Well, and sometimes the things that we are directed to do, can seem odd or, strange to, other people who maybe don't operate that way. But we have to kind of have the courage to follow that spirit that is guiding us, so to speak. But of course, saying that, I want to make it clear too, that we also have to have that spirit of discernment in place as well, because yes, we can also be deceived or self-deceive. And so, but that's something, people can read my books, and there's a lot of information about that in them as well, because that's a very lengthy process of how we learn that discernment, and we're taught that mystically as well as we're going through those things,
Okay.
But there's a lot of these promptings that are very important, that we are receptive to those changes, because that's kind of the whole purpose of the purification, that we are receptive, that we are listening.
Right. Yes. No. Right. I mean, I got such a prompt a long time ago, and it was the craziest thing I ever heard. It was an insistence. I was living up in Eureka, California at the time, and I just kept hearing this push that kept saying, you need to go south. You got to go south. And I'm thinking, this is it. I'm going crazy. What in the world? So I'm ignoring it, right? And I'm also at the time recovering from a pretty traumatic, abdominal surgery. So I'm thinking, how am I going to go south? I can't go to the store right now. You're telling me to go south? What are you, crazy? So I'm ignoring it. And I'm thinking, okay, just let this pass, whatever. And it just keeps happening day after day after day after day, to the point where there come a night where you couldn't get it away. I couldn't put music on. I couldn't put a movie on. There was nothing I could do to distract from this, words in my mind. You've got to go south. And then it said, if you don't go south, it's not going to happen. You've got to go. You've got to figure out how to go now. And I'm, okay, this is really weird. And then, I don't want to take up too much time with this, but there was a real life incident that sort of knocked on my door in a literal sense. And after that happened, I just knew without a doubt, okay, that's it. We're packing everything up. We're getting out of here, as quickly as possible. And I did. I got in a car and I grabbed my kitty cat and everything that was, very important. and drove south. And I drove for 8 or 9 hours and got a hotel room. And I get in the hotel room and I'm saying to my own mind, like a lunatic, okay, is this it? Well, this is the first step. And then I didn't hear the voice for a really long time. And I can tell you, if I had not done that, Marilyn, I would not be here doing an interview with you right now.
I'm not surprised to hear that. I totally relate to that. I mean, I have a similar story of, being told I had to get to Ute Mountain, which I didn't even know what it was at the time, and finding myself at Ute Mountain near Cortez, Colorado, through a series of odd twists and turns as well.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
and so I mean, I think that, and also, just a lot of other, things and that happen throughout our lives, and also seeing that with other people that I've worked with, and sometimes, life or death promptings that people had that were very important, In fact, a friend of mine who had a prompting the morning of 9/11 to stay home. She worked at the Pentagon, and everyone else in her office did not make it that morning. And she just had a prompting to stay home with her sick dog that morning. And so, and we've heard many stories like that of people on 9/11 who did things like that and other tragic days in our history. And these are the kinds of things that are more dramatic, but there are promptings that we are given all the time that lead to our destiny, that lead to whether or not we are reaching our spiritual potential, that lead to the fulfillment of our purpose here. And it's these little steps that we take on a daily basis of listening to the little small still voice from within. And sometimes that is, given to us in an out-of-body experience. Sometimes it's given to us in the way that that voice spoke to you. Sometimes it's given to us in other ways where we are made aware that there is a change or an alteration in our life that we have to make, either directionally, either in our location, and a lot of times even just in the way that we are living our life. And this is where the purification part comes in. This is where we go through that self-evaluation, where we go through that whole evaluation process. In Medicine Woman Within a Dream, which is that third book in the Mysteries of the Redemption series, I was taken into a past lifetime where I had lived during the time of the Civil War. And I had lived in a time where I was in the South, and I was not against slavery in that lifetime. And I was allowed to watch it from my current self, observing my former self. And I was so shocked that I had a previous existence that was not offended by slavery. And I remember Chief Joseph, who was my teacher during that period, saying to me, is it possible that if in that lifetime you were completely unaware of a viewpoint that you held that offended life in that time, that you might have viewpoints now that still offend life? And then literally that was the birth point of that journey in this life, of really examining all of my deeply held beliefs and seeing where that darkness still lay within me, of which I still remained unaware.
Wow, God, that's incredible. Well, this means that we have to look at ourselves, and, we may not even realize sometimes some darknesses that we hold within, and to look at those. I have one that I deal with, and it's it's to sort of just sort of a personal thing, but I constantly just work myself to death. I work long hours, and I just don't care at all for my physical body. I work to the detriment of myself. I don't take care of myself, this sort of thing. And I've started to face that instead of just mindlessly ignoring it and take care of myself a little bit better. Just the basic things, I'm not trying, it doesn't have to be a bunch of pampering, but the basic things. Make sure you get something to eat during the day, these kind of things. And it could be whatever darkness we have within could be, it's going to be different for everybody.
Right.
And to face it, because that sounds like really something trivial, but in my life, I neglect myself pretty bad, and I'm turning that around because I'm starting to face it, and it's embarrassing, right? It's an embarrassing thing to face, even when I'm facing that privately, on my own day-to-day life. It's embarrassing to say, gosh, I don't even take care of myself. Go get cleaned up. Put on a fresh set of clothes. Maybe sit and stare off into space for 5 minutes. Get a nice tall ice water and chill out for a second. This is going to help when you go back to work. So everybody's going to have a different thing that they need to face. It could be insecurity. It could be any number of things, but it's important to look at those and to face those things. It's going to take us closer to what you're working us to, the actual out-of-body experience where we get to go to these realms that you were talking about earlier.
Right, exactly. And that's what is so fascinating about this journey, because we are given the opportunity to actually look within and see the energetic truth of why. And so, like in your case, if you were taken into this, you would be shown energetically why this is dishonoring this vessel that's been given to you. You know what I mean? Dishonoring your soul as well. Mm-hmm. And so you'd be seeing it energetically, and how this dishonors your life force, and how but it would be something, I can't tell you right now what it would be because I'm not the teacher in that capacity, but it would be shown to you energetically in a way where you would just understand it. And it's all of a sudden, it's just so visible to you that it's like, oh, now I see why I can't keep doing that. Just like when I saw the previous lifetime, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I was fine with that, with the slavery thing, in a previous lifetime. It was like, and it's just made so clear to you energetically that it's easy to fix. It's, when you hear about people who've had near-death experiences and they're given the life reviews, and I've had some of these life reviews as well because I've had a couple of near-death experiences, you are allowed to experience, how you've made people feel in those experiences. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of the reason why people come out of those experiences with such a strong ability to change their behavior, because they experience it. They experience how their behavior affected other people and how it affected also the heart of God. And then it becomes very different to us. We immediately become so much more capable of just changing and altering it, because energetically we get it in a different way than just like somebody saying to us.
Yeah, it becomes natural at that point. It becomes absolutely natural, effortless, I would say. Yes. Changing your behavior becomes not even something that you think about. You just act differently now after you've been shown energetically and experience it in a real way, what these things are doing. So, okay. And then, are there other blockages we need to be aware of?
Well, a lot of people have fears, a lot of people are afraid of death. They're afraid that and so it's important for people to know that the separation of the spirit from the body happens to all human beings during sleep unconsciously, so they won't die by becoming conscious of the experience. Another thing that people are afraid of is, the dark side or demons, and yeah, there are dark forces to learn about. So you can supplement your learning. You can learn a lot about this in the Mysteries of the Redemption, which we'll talk about later, but also ask in prayer to be protected on your first attempts by your guardian angels from any fearful experiences. And a lot of times you're going to be given a lot of extra protection if you just make sure to ask about that. Another thing that people get fearful of is breathing, and part of that is people are afraid they'll stop breathing. You won't stop breathing, but some people will experience what feels like a cessation of breath. Just because there is a switch from the physical to the spiritual body. But that is momentary and non-reflective of danger. It's just a natural reflection of switching from the physical to the spiritual. So that's, again, something not to be afraid of, not to be worried about. Fear of the unknown, pretty typical thing. Just prayerfully walk forward and take one step at a time. Allow yourself to take things in at your own pace. Take one step at a time. You'll be fine. Being afraid of getting lost or being not able to come back is pretty typical. Mm-hmm. But the one thing real simple on both of those is that if you ever find yourself feeling lost or feeling like you don't know how to get back, remember, all you have to do is think of your body or think of home, and you will instantly be transported back there. You will always be able to come back. And if you feel like you're lost, you will instantly be back home as well. Ironically, some people experience some fear of the unconditional love of God. When they've had an experience, it's so powerful that it kind of like freaks them out. Mm-hmm. So if you've had that experience, or for someone who might have that experience, it's really just a situation of just take it in gradually, and when you're ready, try again. But just take it at your own pace, and just a good thing for everyone to remember. It is very, very intense.
Yes, it is. But, if everybody could just touch that one time.
I know.
One time, Marilyn, it is a hard thing to describe. It is a hard thing.
Life-changing.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to convey to another person. And also, I think it's very strange for folks, especially maybe my listeners, because, I am a practicing witch, and I always have been. And yet I have had this honor of experiencing the love of God. And so it seems very incongruous, but the expression, the love of God, is all encompassing. It's for everyone, including a heathen like me. And I would love for everybody to experience that, because they say God is unknowable. Well, you will have a better idea if you can experience that.
It is such an amazing thing. And that is one of the things that is just, I mean, you say it very well. You say it very, very well. So again, just a couple more of the fears that people have. Some people have a hard time letting go of the human ego, because your separate and individual identity is immediately challenged. And, but it's not important, because, they're only holding you back anyway. So just try to be willing to let them go and try to surrender that. But just take gradual steps between experiences, and that's going to allow you to slowly let that go and allow the experience. Reality being threatened, that's something that definitely happens with the out-of-body experience, but allow yourself to process it at whatever pace works for you. No big deal. Just take your time. A lot of people are, these are kind of what I consider the two biggest fears. Being alone with yourself. People are afraid to go forward in their journey because they realize they're going to change radically, and being alone with ourselves takes us even further because we will see things which are really hard for us to see, but no worries. We all have defects. Don't worry about it. It's funny how much we all worry about that stuff. And I can tell you, I hear from so many people, we're all the same. We all worry about the same things, and we all have the same defects. We're just all the same, Yeah.
And the rest of us out here, by the way, are not nearly as concerned with all of your flaws as you might think we are,
I know. It's funny how we worry about that. And, and it's funny how we all struggle with the same issues, and we could all help each other a lot by just realizing that we're just on this road traveling the same journey to overcome the same things, But that biggest final fear is, ironically, the normal reaction to the intensity of the experience. People are, when it happens, the level of the experience will overshadow anything you've ever known before. And some people do react with, great fear to that. A lot of people don't, but there are some people who are just really, really thrown for a loop. And again, you just kind of step back and you pray for help. You ask your guardian angels to give you a sense of security. And then when you're ready, then you ask to be given some grace to give you the security and the loving kindness to get you through to the next one, so that you can do it again, and just do it in your own pace, in your own time. A lot of that is just do things at your own pace and don't feel like you need to overwhelm yourself. You know what I mean?
It's not a race, and it's not a contest or anything like that. Nobody's measuring how fast you're doing this, and there is no real schedule that you're trying to meet. There's no deadlines here at all, not at all. And so, God, this is so very, very helpful. You're so incredibly thorough with all of this, and more thorough than, some that I've talked to. Of course, everybody that I talk to on this subject has something to offer to give.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Discount Airline Pilot Guy.
Mr. Discount Airline Pilot Guy.
Your minimal experience flying a plane will never land you at a reputable airline. Luckily, you don't work for one.
Look at me, I'm flying.
Sure, we're concerned for our lives. Just not as concerned as saving $9 on a round trip to Fort Myers.
Oh!
The most direct route to Houston? Through Fort Lauderdale, with layovers in Detroit, Vancouver, and Kalamazoo.
I can't feel my legs.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh skipper of the skies. You put the fly in fly-by-night operation.
Mr. Discount Airline Pilot Guy.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Web Africa Internet is fast. Dude, did you just bleep me?
You can't say that on radio.
Oh, what do you mean I can't say?
No.
How about fast?
No.
And...
Dude.
Wow. Okay, well, what about, effing?
Yeah.
Okay, rad. Visit webafrica.co.za for fiber, LTE at home, and ADSL. Web Africa. Effing fast internet.
When you subscribe to the Kingdom of Nye with Heather Wade, you get access to our archive of shows in superior audio quality so you can listen anytime. You can join in on the live talk action and send your questions to Heather through the looking glass during the show. Enjoy exclusive interviews with top-notch guests only for subscribers. Folks, we can't do it without you. Discover an oasis for the mind. Click subscribe at thekingdomofnigh.com. A talk show so good, it's supernatural.
Hey man, how's it going?
Not so good. I haven't had any coffee today and I just ran out of my supply.
Wait a minute, you have your own secret stash of coffee? Is it like a special blend or something?
It's not a secret stash, I just have standards, okay?
Such as...
llama dung.
Excuse me?
Llama dung. The soil that the coffee is grown in has to be rich in llama manure, otherwise the coffee will lose its magical quality.
Dude, I think that's a little over the top. Sounds like you just like strong flavors and don't want to go along with the whole corporate...
It's gotta have the dung! That coffee is my lifeblood, and I can't be a winner without it.
Don't worry, man. Calm down. Hey, look, Adam's coming, and it looks like he's got some coffees with him.
Hey guys, I just dropped by Coffee Emporium and they're having a promotional giveaway. They hooked me up with some free coffees. You guys want one?
I don't know.
Come on, man. I heard their coffee is amazing.
Well, okay. Wow, this is the best coffee I've ever had.
What about your special blend?
I think I just found it.
Come to one of the Coffee Emporium's 5 locations and enjoy the best premium blends in Cincinnati. Coffee Emporium, the place to go for artisan roasted coffees and assorted teas.
Prepare yourself for the most intensely shocking motion picture of our time. Nightmare. The motion picture everyone is talking about.
Hello? Hello, Steve?
From the man who terrified you in Dawn of the Dead and Friday the 13th, special effects director Tom Savini, now comes Nightmare. Nightmare. The dream you can't escape. A lie. No one under 17 will be admitted. From 21st Century Distribution, coming soon.
Off there. I don't want to miss
We are
anything.
ready to launch, Heather.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
so
okay.
exciting.
We're at the good stuff now. All right.
So we are literally at the mechanics where we're going to launch. So, this is where we're just going into the out-of-body experience itself. So as you are now having your out-of-body experience, you're going to start hearing the loud roaring sounds, which are the sounds of the astral plane. And the reason you're hearing that is because the astral plane has a higher vibration than the physical plane. It's a 4th realm instead of a 3rd realm. So what that's going to sound like, it's going to sound like you're sleeping right next to a jet engine. So that's what it's going to sound like. Then you will enter into what I call the vibrational state, which is when your physical body, you separate into the frequency of your physical body into the spirit body. And again, the frequency of your physical body is a lower vibration than the frequency of your spirit body. So that vibration is extremely higher than your physical body. And so you feel like you are vibrating at a speed that is really hard to describe, but it is a very powerful vibration. It's something that is sometimes pretty unnerving if it's the first time you've experienced it. So as that happens, you're going to kind of merge these states. The vibrational state occurs when you've gone very deep. That's why I'm always telling people 3 hours of practice so that you can actually allow yourself to get to that level. When you reach it, you want to try to maintain the vibration and keep it going at a steady hum. At that point, you are likely going to have something happen which we call linking to the mind of God. And that's not something that you can induce. You must allow it. You'll suddenly know the answers to all mysteries and all things will make sense. It's amazing. Just rest in that link. This is an amazing state. Enjoy it while you can, because when you return, that knowledge doesn't all come with you. But for that moment in time, for however long you're going to be there, you have this amazing sense of everything makes sense. It's beautiful. And as that occurs, God's unconditional love descends as well. And this is just bathing time, bathe in it, allow it, rest in it. This is also when this usually will not occur.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, it says weak reconnecting. There's a poor network connection. Boy, right when we get to the good stuff. Too.
Can you hear me, Heather?
We got you. We read you. We got you back.
Oh,
okay.
Excellent.
All right.
My apologies. I don't know what happened there, but
I don't either, but this interwebs, it's sort of like surfing on the electronic ether anyway. So
okay, where did we leave off? Because I was just talking to myself, having a good time.
I bet you were. I bet we missed all the good stuff right then. No, you left off at stay in that link with God, because when you come back, you're not going to take all of that back with you. So while it's there, stay with that link of God, and that's when we lost you.
Okay, and then God's unconditional love descends, and that is time to bathe. That is just wonderful. Bathe in it, allow it, rest in it, because that is when you feel God's unconditional love. And that is just, you just feel like you've just been, hit with the light of the universe there, because you really have, kind of, Okay, and this is where I was talking about how this doesn't usually occur when you're having your first experience, but this is when it will occur in future experiences where you may experience vibrational raisings. And these are highly powerful accelerations in the actual force of the vibrations. They will rise and fall, and it will repeat over and over again. It can be uncomfortable at first, but as you become more accustomed to them, they become very blissful. Don't interrupt them if you at all can. Allow them to continue until they are finished, whether it takes minutes or hours, if at all possible, because those are the times when those vibrations are coming in and raising you up and preparing you for higher and higher realm travel. That will not likely happen on your first exit, but as you continue traveling, those are very, very important to prepare you for really, really, really amazing accelerations in your journeys. Okay, but as you then move forward, you're either going to now usually roll, lift, or will yourself out of your body. And so that's what's going to happen next. And then here are some things that you will experience here. Your senses will originate from your consciousness. You're going to see, hear, smell, and taste from your consciousness. You're going to speak with thought. And when you travel, you will do so with your thoughts. If you think of a place, you literally will be there instantly. If you try to walk, you're going to wade through the ether, and you're literally going to be very slow and ineffective. So the quicker you realize that all of your senses and your movement are consciousness related rather than physical organ related, the better you're going to adjust to your new spiritual body, and you'll get to moving a lot quicker. Physical objects will be more tight vibrationally than air, and so you will go through a process of learning how to actually move through physical objects. So going through walls and windows might be a little tougher at the beginning, but eventually you'll learn to do that. And you're going to sense the reality of spirits, meaning that obviously you will see spirits, but you will also know about them. You will see them there, but you also have knowledge of them. So, for instance, you may know some of their karmic issues, something that they might need, something about why they are there. you will definitely hear the thoughts of people. And in the astral realm, you may hear a huge mass of the thoughts of humanity. And it comes across as like just this crowded noise, and that's the thoughts of humanity. At first you're like, what is all this, and it's just the thoughts of humanity. And you hear that on the astral plane. Beyond the astral plane, you're not going to hear that all the time. In their spiritual body, thoughts will become things. And so you will learn to harness your thoughts a little bit so that you don't, get into too much trouble there.
Right. There's that experiencing it again that teaches us so quickly.
Exactly. And so now you're out of your body, and, so from here you want to bring infinity into your reality and the world, and thus begins, the path. And, you can review these basic ideas in, Astral Projection Made Easy, which is available with all my books for free download on the website at outofbodytravel.org. And Come to Wisdom's Door goes into more detail about all those steps. But the Mysteries of the Redemption also takes it a step further in, as Heather mentioned, making it more of a spontaneous effort.
Yeah, I really like how you worded this to bring you into an energetic space where it becomes spontaneous. So that is the key, and I think therein lies, explains rather the frustration that can sometimes be felt if you're not getting out of your body when you wish you could. Perhaps you're not in the energetic space for that to happen just yet. So then we need to go back to some of your other steps and try to get us into that energetic space. Because once we're in, and you feel free to correct me, Marilyn, once we're in the energetic space, it happens.
Yeah, it really does. People would be surprised. I remember when I was writing the Mysteries of the Redemption, my spiritual guides and teachers told me that they were putting it in so that it would become just very easy for people to spontaneously have the experience as they were reading the book. And one of the reasons it does that is because it kind of opens up the out-of-body travel worlds to people's minds by making those worlds possible, probable, and reality, presenting it to them. It just kind of, in a sense, it kind of opens the key. There's something energetic that happens when people read it, that it no longer seems impossible to their spirit and their soul. It just kind of like, and it just starts happening. And, I don't know that I can honestly really explain how it works. I can just say that that's what I was told at the time, and that's what I've definitely seen happen.
Well,
with,
just like
my readers.
Yeah, well, just like anything that's new, right? So we almost always have. Well, let me just talk about myself, because I don't want to make blanket statements about other people that I don't know their experience. So when I approach something new, and it's something I've never done before, and so there's a few mental blockages involved. Oh, I've never done this before. I don't know. What if I mess up? All these things. And then you start to, I will start to read about it. I will start to formulate what are the steps I need to take. Let's get used to the idea of doing this new thing.
Yeah.
And that sort of gets a person into the headspace that we're going to do this. And then the more you learn about this new thing, by the time you jump into it, it's so much more natural for it to happen, because you're removing these blockages of, am I going to mess up? Am I really supposed to be doing this? Is this in over my head? All of these things start to fall away the more we learn about it. So when you say that about your book, it does make sense to me, because as you're reading it, I'm sure the same thing is happening that's happening to me when I'm listening to you talk here tonight. I mean, I am so ready, Marilyn. I mean, we're not even done with the night here, and I'm just, I have a due list of things I need to do after the show, but I'm wanting to just go to the quiet place in my home and just get out there. You know, it's been a couple of weeks, so I want to hear again, just from listening to you. So I can imagine what your book would do. Reading the book would probably, by the time you're halfway through it, 3/4 of the way through it, I would not be surprised at all. People jumping out of their bodies.
Yeah. And, you know, too, also just, we have a course of study at the website that's pretty intensive. That's free for anybody who wants to, you know, really dig deep, which gives the course that I was led to through my out-of-body experiences, the exact course that I was directed through my spiritual teachers to take over the last 30 whatever years, you know. And also, you know, as I mentioned earlier, the mystical and ascetical theology, I have 2 of those that are available for free download there to, you know, peruse as well, to help them with that, beginning the purification as well. So there's a lot of resources they can take a look at.
That's incredible.
To get them going, you know.
That is just incredible. You are something else. You know, I just don't often hear from people that are so eager to teach people something, and then, yeah, here's all the material you could ever want and more on my website, free download. I mean, is there a catch? Where is the catch, Marilyn?
No catch. We're just trying to open up that doorway. Trying to open up that doorway. We got to do it.
Yeah, well, they don't call it the Most High for nothing, right?
That's right.
I've been thinking about that listening to you for the last hour. This girl is in touch with that is Most High. And that is like no joke. She really, really is. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I want everybody to experience this, all of this. I want everybody to touch this. I want everyone to have something like this happen to them, because what is missing in our world is this spirituality. And there's, I guess to use a term that the kids are using nowadays, there's a little bit of gatekeeping going on with spirituality. I think that there has been for quite a while. And it's time to unlock these mysteries and let people experience it for themselves, because there is no greater teacher. You know, Marilyn, you probably notice that psychedelics are real big right now. A lot of people want to go and have this ayahuasca experience, to have a transcendent spiritual experience. You know, I truly believe that out-of-body travel can do the same thing. It takes a little effort, but I think that's why people are turning to psychedelics. And look, I'm not down on it. So, hey, you know, within reason, and you be careful out there. You do what you think you need to take you on the path. But I think people are seeking these things out, Marilyn, because there is something missing. There's something missing in our world, in our lives, and it's being in touch with this that you're talking about.
Well, and I think, you know, I totally get why people are looking in that direction, but I think that people don't realize that the experience is available to them naturally.
Yes.
And I think if they realize that, I think they'd be going for it, you know. And so I'm here to tell you, it can come naturally, and it does, you know. I have people who have tried just about everything else other than drugs, and they are doing these things. And you know, these are the methods that really are the time-tested methods of all the prophets, saints, mystics, sages, ascetics from throughout the ages, from throughout the world. You know, it's not like anything I'm doing is really that new. It's just you know, I learned this stuff from the ancient sacred texts left by all those people, you know, and, you know, and they kind of showed me through the out-of-body experiences that I had, where they showed me these things and directed me to their words that they left in ancient sacred texts, which, you know, were the words that they left behind to tell us how they found the way, how they found the key. And, you know, so these are not new things. And it's available and it doesn't require those things. It's natural.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it is.
it is.
I mean, I think now might be a good time since we've listened to you for a few hours here. And I think now would be a good time to repeat something you said at the beginning of the show, which is, look, everybody is having an out-of-body experience when you go to sleep, whether you realize it or not. So it's not about really, you need to learn how to do this. You're doing it. Everybody out there is already, if you sleep, then you have been out of your body. And I mean, that's sort of like asking, who out there drinks water? You know, we have all gone to sleep.
Well
and
said.
yeah, and so, everybody has experienced this. We got a break we got to take here. But look, you have already experienced this, whether you're aware of it or not. And as I like to say, going into your mind.
Hi, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. I am the host of the Dark Wolf's Den Show on the Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, and I want to talk to you today about an organization that means a lot to me and that I am proud to be a part of. We are imec.world. That is imec.world.